Adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 89. That's an incredible number because Dave the Body Regina was born in 1989. I am here with the entire crew, Michael the Show Pirelli, Claudio the Voice Valenzuela, and Justin Satchel Simpy Sanchez, a.k.a. the intern. My brothers, how the hell are you? We're back for another week.
Very good, feeling tight as always. Did you see my new thing in the morning where I did the double tap?
Yeah, that was nice. I like that.
I'm trying to figure out a little calling card because you have the come on.
And now
and it's freezing, and I do that because I'm freezing in the morning.
Now that I haven't done the finger roll, come on, a lot of people, they want it.
Yeah, they want it. You got to keep them wanting more.
They want it.
Yeah,
it's just a natural finger. I don't know.
When are you gonna hit him with it? Is there like a big?
I don't know. Well, now that we spoke on it, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it sometime soon.
Okay. So if you don't follow, go follow Instagram, which is pumping because one of us, which I didn't even realize, has egg in their name.
That's right.
Regina popped an egg in his bicep, and if you haven't watched it, if you live under a rock, it's gone super viral.
100 milli.
People are still reaching out to me and like, that's Dave, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, that is absolutely Dave.
It's so bizarre too, because we went from 15,000 on the Instagram, which was great. Like today, there's 18.5. Like it's just weird. It's just weird for nothing, for absolutely nothing.
I was getting texts from people like, so good to see all your guys' hard work paying off in this hat, because they don't know that the egg is getting us to the top.
Yes, the egg will take us to. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Dave
Regina. Just do an R-egg and then Ina.
I listened back to the last episode. I will say sometimes CV is right. It was about 40 minutes before we got into the topic because we were talking about our tight pod bods. But let's go right there. Pod bod. I like what you're doing. I see you. I just don't know if 3 exercises is enough.
So let me preface this. They don't want me to work out, David.
They don't want me to work out.
So last night I get home. I'm spitting already. Last night I get home. It's 9 o'clock at night, right? Or whatever, 7, 8, whatever you want to say. I round it up. Say it's 8 o'clock, whatever. I go down to the basement to check out all the work that's done throughout the day. I always do that. I do a walkthrough, right?
Very good.
Make sure nothing's effed up. Just see the progress. Make sure people are actually doing stuff.
We call that proggy.
So I go in the basement. My men who are doing the HVAC system, the central air, took literally everything and threw it on top of my gym equipment. Okay? So I have a video, which I'll send to CV. I did a pan. You can't even see the bench. They threw, I'm not exaggerating, maybe 20 cases of boxes, like just random toiletries from our little Costco room on top of my equipment. So in my head, I'm like, they don't want me to work out, Dave.
They don't want me to work out.
So I did some work. I came back down at 9:30 at night.
Okay.
Cleared it out. Try to organize it nice just to send him a message like, the gym is open, bud. Like Jim Miguel does not close for construction. So that was a mental win.
Okay.
And then this morning, it was even sweeter when I was spreading out in my basement gym lifting.
I like those exercises. That one isolation is a good one.
Did you catch the angles?
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
Mind Pump they're my trainers. They don't know.
You said one of them looked like me. Which one?
The bald dude looks like you.
Yeah?
Yeah. You got better body. Don't tell him though. His name's Adam.
No, he's
probably my favorite. The older guy.
He's rippy. He's super rippy.
So it's funny. There's 3 personalities, right? And I'll be quick with this. Main guy is like the scientist, right? He's very like you. He's very. The second guy was a reformed bodybuilder that now is more like a lifestyle, works out, looks great.
Reformed priest or something.
No. Third guy is also a bodybuilder, but very laid back, right?
Okay.
Very chill. So I connect with the second guy, who's you. So basically, you're my trainer inadvertently through this other guy.
Got you.
If you
I love it.
that.
I love the consistency, man. That's what it's all about.
3 exercises. Here's my thought process. Start with the 3 as a base.
Yep.
And I'm doing different body parts, right? Bro splitting.
Yep.
So I can I'm practicing, I'm enjoying the process, which is the theme.
Yes.
Of getting my form down so that I can build strength and a nice base for cutting in the future. And my thought is, if I do, say, for example, biceps today, which I did, if I'm feeling great, roll it right into a tricep. So I will combine those 2 days into one day. But right now I'm focusing on the practice of focusing on perfect form with an easy split with only 3 workouts for a couple weeks.
I like it. Listen, anything that you're doing consistently, I believe, will end up in progress. So I don't think this will be your end goal to get to 10%, but this is a great foundation. He's like, oh, well, maybe it is. He starts wearing like a sauna suit while he's doing it.
The only other thing that I've incorporated are called trigger sessions. Again, shout out Mind Pump, my trainers. Trigger sessions are basically, their theory is that if, say you work out, today was biceps, throughout the day, band in the office, which I can absolutely do, you just hit a couple, get a little blood flowing, help with recovery, help it build muscle because you're pumping more blood through it, but you're not fatiguing it. You're just getting blood through it.
Just
you know
nice
when they say
pump.
Lift your leg when you roll an ankle to get blood through it? That's recovery. So this guy's theory is that those days, which even tomorrow when it's recovering, just hit a couple.
Okay.
Just hit a couple throughout the day.
I see it.
And I'm like, I like this. This is like unorthodox, and it's doable with my schedule. Like if I'm early to an appointment, you get the band, boom, boom, you know?
Boom, boom.
So I'm very excited where I'm at. I'm locked in. I don't know if you've seen it in my eyes.
That's what it matters.
Locked
that's
in.
all that matters. Bang!
Let's not get canceled. So how have you been? I mean, 22 for 22 last time I saw.
26 for 26 today.
Your pull-ups, a little shaky. No, they're great form.
Smaller.
They're great form. Can you do a closed pull-up? So I've been trying to do strict bicep.
That's easier for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to engage the back though.
Right.
It's like the squat for your bicep.
Yeah. The difference with my pull-ups compared to most people is I do military style pull-ups.
Break it down.
Where I keep my feet a little bit in front of my body.
Yeah, you're kind of stiff.
And I point, but most gyms don't have a pull-up bar high enough where, right? You get what I'm saying?
Jim Miguel, that's one of the
you
things.
have to
I'm
put
hitting
your
my head
feet
on the
behind.
ceiling.
Right. So it's a problem. So this gym is nice because now I can get full extension, right? And I can really explode up. But my feet are in front, toes pointed up towards my shins. Like that, and that's how I crank out my pull-ups.
You keep tension
and
tight.
what that does is completely removes my lower extremities from the pull-up, and I really get to engage my biceps and back.
I'm gonna try to ask more questions in 2022 because I feel like you sandbag us. You give us what you do, but you don't give us why. By giving us
science.
why you do it,
Yep.
you'll convince me because usually you've been right so far, which pisses me off.
Yeah, but the amount of pull-ups that I do, they're not great to do every day because like I feel a little something in my elbow, here and there.
A twinge.
So I'm working them like every other day, but it's just a great warm up that I love to do. So my warm up I do every day.
Your warm up is like my full.
Yeah. It's just push ups and pull ups though to get going.
So for trigger sessions, they were talking. They have these 5-minute segments, which I love because that's my attention span. A couple 5 minutes in between showings, driving in the car. It's like, how to get better at pull-ups, how to get better at squat, whatever it is. The theory is when you pass a doorway, like you were saying, if you have a pull-up bar, just, again, trigger session, just practice the action of it.
Yes.
And your body will it's like a golf swing. It's just reps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, don't do too much. We're going to be too sore so your form breaks. But every once in a while, just hit a nice form one. But where it becomes second nature. And you're training the mind-muscle connection.
Yep. I got to put you on. I think you'll like this dude. His name is Jeff Cavalier.
Great.
And and he it might even be Cavalieri. I don't know. So
no, that's the Hills
X.
girl.
Athlete.
Oh,
X.
I like him. I see a guy called with fake weights in a couple of episodes.
No.
That's what they say.
He's not that strong. He just puts the science back in everything.
So another to your point, I'm trying to stay focused on one trainer.
Yes.
Because when you get conflicting evidence. So I'm riding or dying with Mind Pump.
I like that.
Ride or die, Mind Pump. I can't wait to meet them in the future.
So what'd you do with Big Boy?
Big Boy's the best. His science is not really backed. He overtrains.
He just picks things up.
He was unsustainable. I love him, but I look at his body and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. Like I'll die before I get to that weight. But I still love him. Shout out Big Boy. He's one of my favorites.
So listen, I don't have any plan in mind. If I can get to the room.
Yeah,
45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the day. I'm getting there.
Is there an exercise? I'm always curious about your weak points. An exercise that you're like, in 2022, I want to get better at this exercise. My problem is I have so many of them that I haven't done.
But see, I love compound movements.
Yeah, but is there something that you're like, this is probably the weakest of all of them?
My back squat, it's not weak. It just doesn't, I don't I don't like doing it, so I moved to a front squat.
You don't like doing it because you had back.
Because of my back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it genuinely does not feel good. Same thing on a deadlift, right? Like, you know,
So
I was playing around with 315 the other day just to...
See how he throws
I'm
that
not
in
being
there, right?
funny. I'm not being funny.
I don't
being
have
serious.
315 in weights at my house.
But, you know, on a deadlift, that's not really a lot, especially for guys our size. But listen, so I was, you know, picking it up, and I did probably 8 reps just to, you know, really get the blood flowing. But then I had to drop back down to 225 and do it for 20 reps because it just feels so much better. I feel like I'm training
for 20 reps.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like on those movements with my, you know, my back issues, I'm sitting down at a desk most of the day. I get up, I walk around, but it's just not, it's not a longevity based thing if I'm going super heavy like that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's funny though. I was thinking and the reason why I did it was because I used to have this T-shirt and it was called the 1,000 Pound Club. Right.
Yeah, I know.
And this was when I was back at King, so I was nowhere close to the 1,000 Pound Club. It was almost a joke.
Yeah.
And then we had a 1,250 pound club that some of the guys were in too. And basically, it's the three main compound movements: bench, deadlift, squat. Add those 3 up, and if you're at 1,000 pounds,
that's a cool.
You're
goal.
in the 1,000 Pound Club.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure that I was still in the 1,000 Pound Club. That's why I picked up the
still in it.
Yeah,
still in it.
That's why.
So was your breakdown for the 1,000 pounds?
So I was 350. On a bench press.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
It sounds absurd.
Take the math. What was the math here? It
350.
350.
Okay. I could do it in my head. I mean, 3 numbers.
A 315 squat.
665.
And then I finished with what is that?
665.
75?
Oh, left? 665 would be yeah.
And that's how I finished.
And what on a squat?
Oh,
deadlift.
Yeah. And I was pissed because I'm like, all right, now I have to do it for 1. So 335. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, because I had the three big plates on it, and then a 10 on each side, and it looked super funny because I couldn't find a rubber 10, so I had the big rubber plates on the 45 and then a regular 10.
You're talking about a guy who puts dumbbells on his.
But
legs. Which I think there's an opportunity to make a hybrid modular. They do, but not to the thing I'm thinking.
Yep.
But I'm not wasting my time with that shit anymore. Pardon my French.
No, I hear you. No, so I was actually pissed about it because I'm like, damn, I should have put 375 on the bench press to take a little bit more away from my my squat.
Yeah. But then you don't want to blow a pec.
No. Well,
but I think you got 375 in the back.
Yeah.
Point being, locked in. Diet's been great. I've been eating my calories consistently, and I'm finding that I have more leeway because I'm consuming more, but I'm also lifting heavy and getting my movements in. I'm also walking a lot more because of the real estate market.
Have you ever looked at your number of calories that you burn day to day? And that's on the in-body thing.
But it's
No.
Oh,
naturally.
yeah. It was like 21 something.
See, mine is like 36 or 3,700.
Yeah, I need to get up there.
It's crazy.
My muscle was at like 104 and a half. My muscle was 104 and a half.
Yep.
So next time I weigh in, I'm going to focus on the muscle and make sure that's going up.
Just see.
But everything still fits. So I'm like, I'm eating a weight like triple what I usually eat, and I'm hitting my protein goals like pretty easily.
Easy
so
money.
I would imagine that when I go back, the body fat percentage might not move, but my muscle should go up.
Which is good. That's good.
What you have like 120 pounds of muscle or something?
Something like that.
I would love to get 110 before I do the cut.
That's doable.
Because that would be a nice like 110 and then
Yep.
And when I say cut, I mean I'm just gonna be,
It's funny though. So shout out my wife Karina because she, we've had like this little, not a competition, but secretly it's a competition. She's worked out like 20 days on the year.
She's a beast.
She's.
I hate to say it. I think she's the hardest worker in the room.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
She's a beast, dude.
Don't say that, Michael. Never in your life. Anyway, I wanted to know your opinion on this. So, as we're going to talk through enjoying the process, if you will, right?
Embracing, enjoying all the above.
I've added, especially for the body fat percentage, I've added things along the way to give me like some motivation.
Okay.
And this is really booking trips. The concept of booking trips.
Yeah,
So,
I like it.
I got a couple of trips coming up that are adding additional motivation, right? Headed down to Vegas in March for the Pac-12 tournament.
Sick.
With 2 No Snooze alums, Marky Carter and Frank Kepnang for Oregon men's basketball.
When are you going to be hired as assistant coach over there?
You know, might be in the works. Slash
just
recruiter.
with the hat on. You're the
But so I'm
trainer.
like, well, I can't be in Vegas, like looking like, you know, all schleppy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be tight.
Right. So
I'd
then,
be the guy like tight with the shirt. I'm not tight.
and
excuse me.
we're that I don't know if I could say this, but I'm not paying for that trip.
When is it?
It's not saying March, so it's pretty close.
That's really close.
That's what I'm saying.
You're going to get to 8 before that?
No. I just got to stay nice and tight.
I mean, you could.
I could, but I got to just stay nice and tight.
Okay.
Then in April, we just booked as a family a Puerto Rico trip because I'm like, okay, now I can't take my foot off the gas because it's very easy to come back from Vegas and then a couple weeks later, you know, like, yeah, no, but I'm going to be on a beach. I want people to think I'm Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
You know what I'm saying?
He had a big catch.
Dude,
Great
those games
catch.
were incredible.
I only caught the very end of both.
Oh,
But
that was the best part. That was all you needed.
I think I figured it out.
That's all you needed.
Madagascar, Livy goes to bed. Watch the end.
I am going, this is an early one here. Chiefs, Niners. Chiefs with the win, 27-20.
It's a good.
Put it in the books.
That's good.
All right. So then Puerto Rico, and then we have at the end of the summer we booked or that's July. Big family trip down to Orlando to show
that's fun.
Callie and the kids Disney World.
Amazing.
So it was an added
You
motivation.
better save us some cash for that.
As we were
Sorry, go ahead.
listen.
Not to be negative.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you know you're getting old. Is when as you say a fun trip like that, and I'm like,
It's
talk
true
about that, Bill.
It's so true. But as you then said, okay, let's talk about enjoying the process. I was like, all right, specifically for my body, you know, my body goal. It
makes you enjoy.
Yes,
Something to look
exactly.
forward to.
Exactly.
I like that. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works for me. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, the worst thing is if I just spend all the money on these trips and then I just blow up like a, you know.
Yeah, then you're
25%
at the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm broke.
Let's not
Now-
throw around percentages, okay? Because when you
Now-
throw around an example percentage and it's within 2% of daddy over here, that doesn't make me feel good.
It's not about being
But I wear it well. I wear it well, better than anyone's ever worn it.
I'm just not trying to be fat and broke in 22.
I'm the most ripped 20% plus person you've ever seen. All right, let's
true.
clarify that.
That is true.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NoSnooze30. Again, that's NoSnooze30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
Yeah, so let's jump. I don't know.
Let's go right into it.
Let's go right into it.
You know what? I like what you did there, where you're putting something in the future that you're working towards, something to look forward to. We have a nice trip to Florida coming up.
Beautiful.
February the 5th to 10th or something. So it's around the corner.
Yep.
Something to look forward to. I've been so just in it with the renovations. We had a bunch of new listings come on, negotiating deals, basically worked through the holidays. I got to a point where I don't know what it was a point, but everything was blurring together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was enjoying it, enjoying the process, but everything was blurring together. I realized that I was really enjoying Livy, and I was having a blast when I came home from work. I was looking forward to come home. You know, I was taking the time before her bedtime, put the phone down from 5 to 7:30, cook her dinner, help Dana cook her dinner, whatever, play with her, and then put her to sleep. I was telling Dana, I want to put her to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wake her up in the morning. So I've been really enjoying that, but I'm I don't remember stuff well. And I was I want to remember things. There's people ask me stuff, and I'm we talked about that? And then they get mad at me because I'm but it's because while you're talking to me, I'm late for something else.
Thinking of the next thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's something that I struggle with, and I'm it's only going to get worse, so I got to figure out something now to try to combat that, right? So I like audiobooks are my thing. I enjoy them. If I'm not listening to a real estate specific podcast, I'm listening to a book that someone recommends from a podcast like that. So I don't remember who said it, but they're there's this book, Storyworthy, that it was life changing for me. When someone says life changing, I'm always I'll check it out, right? Because this guy who was talking sounded normal, didn't sound like a quack. was doing a ton of deals, but he had a family life. So I'm like, oh, maybe there's something there. So it's funny how things like land in your lap when you're constantly listening to stuff. So I start listening to it. I'm sitting outside of a listing, and I'm looking down the barrel at 50 showings in a weekend, right? And I'm like, this just creates kind of like this blur because you're just not back to back to back. Yes, you enjoy the time when you get home, but there's so many things going on that, right? Like, for example, when I put Livy to sleep, I'm back working. So like I open the computer at home, get a bunch of stuff done, work till 10, 11, go right to bed. So there's no like decompression other than the gym in the morning, but I'm a freak athlete, so I focus on working out. So in this book, this guy tells stories, and he tells them incredibly. There's some type of competition that is every year. He was like a stand-up comedian, but it's also storytelling. And I love listening to people tell stories. It's like one of my favorite things of all time. I have an uncle. He's amazing at it. I hear the same ones, but every time he tells it, I enjoy it every time. So I like learning about stuff like that. So this book, this guy's won 10 world championships in stories. And one of the first thing, he starts very high level. One of the first thing he said is like, listen, we all have these amazing stories and memories throughout the day. We're just not looking for them. He's like, people are so preoccupied with what they're going to do. I thought he was talking to me. I was getting a little upset. I'm like, F you, dude. You don't know me. When you talk to, when you hear something through the radio and you're like, they're talking at me.
Yep.
So he gave an example, and this might hit home for you because it involves a dog, and dogs getting older. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Don't cry, because I almost did, and Petey's young, and I'm not an emotional guy at all.
Yeah.
So he tells a story about how his dog, who's one of his best friends, every morning he takes him for a walk, right? And he was getting older and he wasn't going as far. So one random morning, he woke up at 2 a.m., which he never does, and he was rubbing his leg and was like, take me out. So he wakes up pissed off, and he's like, it's 2 a.m., it's freezing out. I'm just going to go out in my underwear and walk this dog. I forget the dog's name, terrible. But anyway, walk this dog.
Wild.
What?
Wild.
Did this just happen?
Literally. So
you're going to cry.
Well,
I'm going to make Dave cry.
But hear me. So the past week, right, he's been waking up 2 to 3 a.m.
Oh, my God.
Having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't have to go outside, but I'm in my boxers. I open the door, and I'm pissed because it's freezing cold.
You're going to cry.
Okay, go ahead.
So he goes outside, and he's walking with the dog, and he's like, I'm in my boxers. He gives all the details because he's an unbelievable storyteller.
Yep.
But I'm going to try to do it justice. He's like, I go outside my boxers. I'm walking the dog. I just try to bring him to the corner. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, no one's out, right? And he's like, it's a little cold. And I bring the dog to the corner, and all of a sudden I see an incredible sunset. Or whatever. So
the moon.
Birds were chirping some shit, and he's like, and the sun starts it's early. I'm like, this makes no sense. The sky was clear. It was an amazing view. Maybe not a sunrise, but just it was it stopped me in my tracks. And he was like, it was very bizarre. And they looked down at the dog, and the dog always wants to go back. And the dog looked at him like, let's keep going. And he's like, I'm in my boxers. I don't know if I should keep walking because what if I see someone? So he walks the dog to the end. The dog wants to keep going, so he goes around the corner and he does a big loop, right? And as he's doing the big loop, it starts to pour rain. And he's like, fucking A, this dog just made me go there. And he's like, I look at the dog, and the dog doesn't like rain or whatever. And he's like, he's having the time of his life. And he's jumping around and looks youthful again, which reminds me how old he is. So he's like, I'm thinking in my head, this could be the last time I walk my dog this loop. So he's like, halfway through, I realized this is the moment that I could have my dog, and could be the last time ever that I take him out in the middle of the night and I walk him around and I enjoy him, right? So he's like, after I realized that, we took our sweet ass time. I walked by neighbors, waving to them in my underwear.
Boxers.
He's like, because that moment, he was like, the dog was worth much more in that experience than any frustration I ever had. And then he talks about in the future how he looks back at that moment and he's like, I wouldn't trade that for the world, and I almost didn't go out with him.
Wow.
How
soon after did the dog die?
Pretty soon. It was,
Yeah.
But he was like, how does a dog, he's like, he must have known that it was time. You're getting there.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, man.
But point being, right, he has a journal, and you have a gratitude journal.
Yes.
His thing is memories.
Well, I don't write them down.
I'm not a writer down guy. I'm like, let's just keep it moving. I do write notes down. But his thing was he's always looking for stories because he feels that stories throughout a day are how you create the memories that last, right? And if you can tell yourself the story and the narrative, like walking your dog in the rain for the last time, and I know it's probably hitting home with Claudio as well, and I apologize, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not a very emotional guy, but you create these stories and you log them, and if you can just trigger it with like words, that's how you look back at your life and really enjoy every day. And he's like, and that's how you stay present, is how you look for one like impactful story every day. It doesn't have to be a big event. Could be something minuscule, but you appreciate that thing that day. And he calls it homework for life. He has an Excel doc that he literally every day writes down just like a couple notes.
Yep.
And then sometimes he practices writing his stories so that he can communicate them to people. So I started doing it. I call it a memory a day for me. But I just have an Excel doc, and since I listened to the book, I've been doing one a day. And I said to my wife, Dana, I started doing this thing, and like, I hate to tell you, but you didn't make the cut yesterday. It was me and Libby playing catch. So then it was funny because the following night, we were sitting on the bathroom floor playing catch while the food was cooking. And Dana sat down, and she's like, I'm making the memory today. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. Like, you're getting involved. And ever since I've been doing it, I've been writing stuff down and laughing to myself and looking back at like the past week and remembering the week. Whereas before it was just another day. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So life changing. I think I'll do it. I want to see how long I keep it up.
Yep.
But there's been a lot of things in the last week that I don't know if it's I just notice them now where
you're more aware. You're intentional.
I'm present, right?
Yep.
And now like certain things don't irritate me as much because I'm like, this could be, God forbid I get hit by a car tomorrow. A lot of people say like live like it's the last day, but by doing that, I'm really like writing stuff down and so it's like your gratitude thing, but it's a different style that works for me.
Yes, that's beautiful, man. I love it. Incredible story. I think
you got to listen to the way he tells it. I tell it.
Well, you're a good storyteller too. But so going back to that, facts tell, stories sell. Like that's a huge concept. Storytelling is one of the best skills in the world. That reminded me of when I was sitting at a meeting with my mom at it was an AA event, right?
And the book's called Storyworthy. I wanted to give it a shout out. Go ahead.
Definitely. Sitting with my mom at AA, and it's something similar that reminded me of this. And this woman, she started speaking, and I wasn't really listening, not really paying attention, whatever. And then she started speaking on this concept of like her version of a gratitude journal. And it basically what it was is another version of that. And it was called A Message in a Bottle. And for every single year, she basically, because she was an alcoholic, she would take an empty alcohol bottle and she would write down one memory so she can remember the day because she was drunk.
Yeah.
Right? Put it in, and then at the end of the year, thinking that somebody else would find it because she was going to die from this disease.
Jesus.
Right? And she's been doing it for like the past 10 years, and she has like her alcohol bottles. Now she still uses an alcohol bottle. She's sober, but she dumps the alcohol and still uses the bottles. And she's been doing it for like 10 to 12 years. But she was crying when she was telling the story because she's like, I started this because I didn't remember my life. And every year that I would, kind of reread these back, it was a moment for her because at first she was breaking the bottle to then read about it. And then she figured she was sober now for a while. And then she said, you know what? I'm not going to read them right now. I'm going to wait a long time to read them. And she has like, 10 to 15 of these bottles, but it's very similar to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very
I love
cool.
it.
I just found myself like not remembering things.
Yeah,
I got worried.
absolutely.
I like started freaking out. I was like, oh, this isn't good.
Karina and I talk about that a lot, man. I think just the day-to-day pressure is just for everybody is just a lot.
Yeah.
And you see it now that we're, in this adult phase, especially as parents now. Our parents were always overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I really
They
get
actually played it a lot better than I do. So.
Yeah. Right. Now looking back, I know.
Or maybe we didn't notice when we were younger.
That's
But it's funny because now knowing and I'm being like conscious of that and intentful is that word? Like for example, Livy has her second swim meet today. Swim lesson. Swim meet. Well, us Pirellis, right? We compete. So if she's in there, it's a swim meet. The other kid was at
the kid.
But
is she liking the lesson?
She loved it. I was getting videos because I was at work. And then I remembered, I'm like, I do real estate, so I can make that stuff. Mm-hmm. So next week I'm there.
That's awesome.
Like,
Isn't that up by me?
Yeah. So I'm going to drive down. But if I know ahead of time and I'm conscious of it, I'll plan around it. I'll get everything done still. I just have to be smart about my time. So I'm like, this is great timing because I might have not done it because I wasn't conscious. Like, that's a memory I'll never forget.
Yes.
So
To that same point, I have to be intentional with when I'm at work, right? Because I can get tied up so quickly, and then that could be another 45 minutes. Whereas now I literally have to say, guys, I apologize. I got to get home.
Yep.
I got to get home.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me back to a thought as you were saying that. For whatever reason, CV and I had a conversation. Like, how do you instill a habit, consistency into your child? And you really don't you don't know. But I've been watching Karina. She's in Callie's in dance, so she has a recital in June.
So cute, by the way.
Right?
Those pictures when she's like,
yeah, it's crazy. She sucks it all up. So Karina actually started practicing with her every single day.
She's
for
gonna be
10 minutes.
What is it called? A mom?
Yes, she was saying it. A stage mom.
Stage mom.
Yes. So she was doing that, and she's like, Callie, come on. Come on. You're only at minute 6. Come on. And they're fun. The cutest dance moves. It's an old school song that they're dancing to. They're doing like twirls. They got to stand in a spot. They're pointing like this. But I think through repetition, right? Going back to that conversation you and I had, I think it's small things like that Callie's going to be like, oh, wow, like I have to do this
if you
every
work
day.
at it,
yes,
you get better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And enjoying the process along the way. Ironically, to turn it to like a process-oriented thing, most people, I'm not going to say everybody. If I told you, Mike, I need you to bake a cake for tomorrow, what's your first thought?
No problem. I'll go buy one.
But what do you think of
Let's go.
That was good. That was good. Excuse me.
I thought you were giving knocks.
Yeah, right. What's the first thing you think of if I were to say like, all right,
100%. I honestly was like, where can I pick up a cake?
Okay,
that's me.
That's good,
but
that's fine. CV, what about you?
How big?
There's no right or wrong
that'd be
answer.
my first thought, like how big of a cake?
For me, I would go research it and figure out how to do it.
No. If I just add,
like
your
question,
thought,
like
if I said,
chocolate, vanilla?
CV, can you bake a cake
What
for
kind of
tomorrow?
cake?
What pops into your head?
Do you really want to taste the cake that I'm going to make? I don't know how to bake.
Okay, all right,
like
Justin,
that.
what about you? Good.
No, I think, to be honest with you, I think my first thought would be what flavor.
Right, like what kind of cake,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
that's
these are
probably
all
the right
good answers. And the point of this is that for me, the first thing that I think about is like, okay, well, it's chocolate cake, right? So I'm looking at the end result. All of us, you were already buying the cake. You were, what was it? What did you say? Basically about like, I don't know how to bake.
Yeah.
You know, there was some,
You want to taste it.
But you
for
jump
real.
to the end. Yeah.
right? You're jumping to the end. You said what flavor, right? So we're already kind of anticipating that. And there's but most people, like all of us, we didn't stop for once to think like, okay, like, this is going to be a process-oriented thing to get to the result. And in life, like...
So what's the right answer?
There is no right answer.
Is the right answer, what's it for?
What's it for? Yeah, it could be. It could be. But there's no right answer, but a process-oriented person in terms of enjoying the process might be like, well, there's a lot of steps involved, but that cake at the end is going to be a phenomenal cake because I'm going to put a lot of work in.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
you get what I mean? Like Karina was like, well, the first thing I'm thinking about is a mess. I'm like, okay. While you're baking, it's a mess, but it's negative. We're thinking of it's a negative thing because we're not enjoying the process.
Yep.
Small example of how we typically think on a day to day. Just interesting to see people's response to it. So it almost becomes like a fitness thing, right? 10%. I'm sure you've done it. I do it. Instead of
10%. I've not done 10%.
no.
He's thrown a lot of digs.
I'm
this
saying your
episode.
10% goal.
I'm gonna put you in a headlock.
Your 10%
Don't let me
goal.
lock you up.
The first thing you do, honestly, is probably like, damn,
Bulk.
how am I going to look at 10%? Right? Like I'm gonna look diced at 10%.
I do say that.
Right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we skip over the whole entire process to get there.
The journey.
Right.
Peace be the journey.
Exactly.
Cool runnings.
So that's really what it's about, and finding ways to enjoy the actual process is a very hard thing to do.
It's life, though.
It is life. But I also think, and the word failure doesn't come a lot in my vocabulary, but I do think you have to experience some sort of failure to then realize like, okay, this is a process-based thing. Like we spoke many times on businesses that I failed, a beard oil company, a hat company. I was already thinking about how I could sell $1 million versus trying to build and build, right? Like we've done with No Snooze Podcast now.
Yep.
Now we like the progression, right? The concept of daily progress is a fun thing. Yes, we might not be the biggest podcast in the world, but as long as we put an episode out and somebody listens to it, we're making progress. We put out an episode and we got a listener, right? So we're doing things along the way. Do you get frustrated? Of course, there's downfalls and all that stuff. In your life, nothing that you've gotten at the end right, was really worth it without the entire process. Because if everything is just given to you, you don't really develop that sense of appreciation. Does all that make sense? I know I threw a lot at you.
Incredible. I couldn't agree more. So for the professional side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Real estate.
Yep.
A lot of times you get a deal and you think, all right, we're closing. What's the commission, right? It's staying focused on just step by step. Something comes up with the contract. Iron out that one detail.
Yes.
Iron out this next detail. Focus on the showing. All right, we have deals. I still should show it because I got to practice my craft. I got to enjoy showing to people. Yes, these people are a pain in the ass, but you got to answer their questions because those questions you might use for the next showing.
Yes.
So I've really enjoyed embracing, like, in the past, I might be like, I don't want to show it. We already have a deal. Whereas now I'm like, God forbid that deal falls through. I need to go get another offer out of someone. So it's just trying to I'm trying to squeeze every opportunity out of everything. And like my time has become very, like in the past, I'd be like, all right, well, I have 45 minutes. Let me just go early and sit in the parking lot and like listen to something. Whereas now I'm like, I'm going to get to the office. I'm going to knock out 45 minutes worth of work, because I know that if I don't do it now, I'm going to have to do it later. And I'm going to knock that out, and I'm going to go here. And the enjoying kind of the process of milking things and getting the juice out of stuff has been really enjoyable, and kind of pushing that envelope.
Yes.
But for real estate, it's very important to be in the process and not worry about the end result, because you really can't control the end result. There's so many variables that go into a deal that it's like all you can do is control what you can control. And whatever happens, happens, but you have to be able to look at your client, yourself at the end of the day, said, I did everything throughout the process to hopefully make it successful. And if it didn't, it's how the cookie crumbles. We'll get someone else type of thing. So it's been good timing, because it's been, if I had my old mindset going into this year, I would have burnt out already burnt out.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of us.
Yeah.
A lot of individuals. And but now when you're on this, success journey, whatever that looks like for you, you just become busier and busier and busier. You got to find ways to be productive. When we were, first talking about this concept, I immediately, I go to a process, right? So I'm like, okay, what's the most important thing for me to actually enjoy this process? And I've really become obsessed with my preparation for things in general, right? And everything that I do, and I'll have a couple examples to where I'm in the process of, certain things that I'll get very specific on. But the first thing that I have to be obsessed with is my preparation, right? Because if I'm not obsessed with the preparation and the idea of performing excellently, is that a word? Excellently?
Sounds good to me.
Performing to an excellent standard.
You're asking me. You hear my English?
It's a problem. The second thing, and this is a David Goggins mindset for sure, but it's doing things in an uncommon way, right? But David Goggins, he would say, and you said life-changing before, because I believe his book Can't Hurt Me was a life-changing event for me.
It's pretty good.
He said, I want to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. Right? So he's basically becoming the best of the best. I want to do common things in an uncommon way. Right? So I want to my consistency is uncommon. My discipline is uncommon. I do everything else that everybody else does, but the way that I perform it in my head, if I'm working towards a goal, it has to be in an uncommon way. I have to do things better than other people. Right? And then the third thing is just embracing the suck. Right? I've learned along the way many times. The recent job experience for me. Did I like it in the moment? No. But did it feel so much better when I finally received that job to look back and say, yeah, you know what? I worked my ass off for that. All the sleepless nights, the stress, the anxiety it put on my marriage, the interviews, the searches, all of that makes it worth it. And you have to find some sort of motivation. Life is meant to be enjoyed, right? And I think too often we look towards the end goal of immediate success, the get rich scheme quick, which is great if it works for you.
I love that in the beginning. If you couldn't tell based on my fitness journey, I'm a very get rich quick scheme guy, reformed in the real estate world, not in the fitness world.
I get you. But the truth is, if you become too attached to the outcome, it removes us from that present moment.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll walk you right into a couple basic things that I'm sure are very similar to you. But my journey to 8% body fat, right? Like
you got down to 8%?
No. My journey. I have to enjoy that process. These are processes that I'm in the middle of right now.
I was about to be like, already, dude?
Already?
You're a young
No. Business.
Yeah.
Right. We're currently in the process of rebuilding our community. We failed 2 years in a row on revenue goals. So now we have to find ways to rebuild and offer new programs and services. It can't happen for a third year. So that's a business process that I'm involved in right now. This is an interesting one. Faith is a big one for me, right? And this can get a lot of foo-foo response from it. But I don't know where I really stand from a faith standpoint, right? I have my relationship with the big man, the guy upstairs. Gratitude has taken me, a couple years, but I've really grasped that concept. I want to evolve that. Right. So one of the things I just did, and I'm leaning more into Christianity for whatever reason, like Christian versus Catholicism, which was pretty typical growing up. I just like the value system. So I literally just ordered a book on the basics and the fundamentals of Christianity.
Nice.
The next step to that is now me reading the Bible. But and it's 1,600 pages. It's going to take.
Do they have it on an audiobook?
It's going to take me a long time. Think about that. 1,600 pages is going to take Dave a long time.
I don't know what that math is, but
a long time to read. But it's just
he
something
might have
that
a second coming.
It's just something that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So I'm starting with a little foundation, but now the process to get there, I'm sure as I'm reading this Bible, I'm going to be like, what the hell? It's not making sense. But I think looking back, I'm going to be like, wow, like I strategically planned for this process to enjoy this, right? Mm-hmm. Financially, I think, we're in a place right now to where, 160 days?
That's a long time, dude.
That is a long time for one book. Financially, right? I think the journey, the journey to the next.
Yeah, I was just thinking that was easy, man.
That was easy.
Our math this episode. I'm a math guy too. I'm a numbers guy.
I'm gonna take you right to finances.
Give me finances.
The journey to the next asset. Right. Whenever it comes, I've said, every 5 to 7 years, I want to attain an asset. But the process along the way of me pulling out, which is something I do bi-weekly, 2 times a month, I take 15% and I invest it into my portfolio. Mm-hmm. So now looking at that, we're making progress towards. There's a process involved. It's not just looking at the end goal, and my suit is so tight when I'm
it is
jumping there. My body fat
shoulders.
must be getting low. The outcome is great, but it's the day-to-day and the bi-weekly pullout of that 15% that I'm excited about.
On the finance and real estate note, a lot of people look to the next investment versus maximizing the current investment.
Yes.
Which you can a lot of times make more money by maximizing than adding another one.
Mm-hmm. I had a great conversation with one of my mentors, Kevin Cook, who I've mentioned a bunch of times. And, he's like, I can see you're getting itchy. Like, you're getting itchy, which is great. But he's like, just make an extra payment into your mortgage.
Itchy. Tell him
no. But he's like,
look at him and be like, I'm always itchy.
He's done very well financially in his, in his investment portfolio.
I had this. Sorry, this is kind of side topic, kind of similar. I've had this change in mindset, right? Like, I just got to a point where I'm like, no one's gonna expect what I expect of myself. So as much as I enjoy mentors and stuff, I take it all with a grain of salt and I don't listen to anyone, which is
that's good though. That's okay.
But it's so like
Kevin,
for example, right?
You're getting experience.
If he told me slow down, I would do the opposite because I'm like,
speed up.
You're comfortable.
What if you like where he's at in his life?
I'd still, because I know you telling you when you're in my position wouldn't said that.
Wait, what?
I know.
No. He wasn't saying slow down. What he was saying was exactly to your point. Maximize your current.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Maximize your current versus just jumping to the next one. He's like, the next one is great, but what can you do right now to maximize your 2 properties?
But my point, too, is like when people tell you stuff, I'm not saying people are malicious by any means, but all the input from everyone else is not what you're always going to want more for yourself than what everyone thinks you're capable of. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
the CV got the cameras rolling? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know. I was just making sure.
Yeah. So the realization's like.
I heard something, so I didn't know.
Good? Yeah. The realization's like, as much as I enjoy compliments, feedback, all that stuff, that's all great. I take it with a grain of salt. Doesn't matter. I'm doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I'm not slowing down. Like, you can tell me what you think if I'm going to burn out and you say this, you say that. You don't know what I'm trying to achieve. So, like, thanks, but.
No thanks.
Yeah, like, thanks, but you're not influencing how I operate, which in the past, I've internalized some of that stuff and let it affect me. Whereas now it's like, oh, you get some type of praise for anything, right? Followers, no snooze, the all that. It's like, yeah, it's great. And I'm not saying don't appreciate it or enjoy it and take the compliment, but you have to in your head know, like, that's great, but that's not anywhere close where I'm going.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because we're going to get to levels, and even with investment properties, everyone's like, slow down. You have 2. Like, why do you need 3? Which is contradictory to what I just said. But it's not like this isn't the story. Like, we're just getting warmed up, baby. That's why I want to tell people, I'm just getting warmed up.
I'm just clapping the backboard on my layup
We're
line.
just getting warmed up.
It's just easy, Just. It's easy, Just. I'm just clapping
And this
the
might not
backboard.
age well. I hope it does age well for us. But that thought process of like, thank you, I appreciate it, but like keeping to yourself and be like, we're just getting warmed up has been something I think about. And then being undeniable, where like, no matter what happens, if you don't get the deal or do it, you weren't good enough. That's it. No ifs, no. Oh, the market's been bad today. COVID's flaring up. This other property came on the market. You weren't good enough. That's it. Get better. It makes it so cut and dry where there's no air for me to be like, it's just like, all right, get back to your shit. There's only one reaction.
I love the word that you just said.
Undeniable.
Undeniable, right? Because something I've thought about, and this is, it's good as a kudos to yourself, but when things happen for you and I want to look back and be like, it was undeniable. My consistency, my discipline, the structure that I built in my life is undeniable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to come at some point.
Yeah.
And I've been what's the word though that I've been thinking about? It's not undeniable. It's
body fat percentage.
I forget.
Miguel.
I don't know.
But anyway,
it's
so
slipping me.
But the undeniable thought.
Undisputed is good, but it
Undisputed.
wasn't that either.
But it's there is a thought in my head. I've never been the guy ever in anything, and I'm like, I think
guy.
I can be the guy.
You are
in
the
a
guy.
certain. I'm not yet. I think I could be the guy and the best at something within real estate. I don't know what yet, what it's actually going to end up being, but I'm getting like flashes of like, this is like, I have a skill set that's very difficult where I'm very analytical but creative. And I do a lot of stuff that a lot of people can't do both, not to sound arrogant, but I'm like, this is my avenue where I can be the guy at some point. So I'm excited about that versus like I've played basketball and be like, I'm not the guy. Like as good as I get, I'm never going to be the guy, right? Like lifting weights, I enjoy it. I'm never going to be the guy in like body wise.
Me neither.
You know what I mean?
I
you
get
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I'm never going to be.
I feel the same in my
I'm
industry.
never going to be a writer and the guy that everyone's like, that guy's an unbelievable writer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's certain things I'm realistic about, but with real estate, for some reason, in my head, I'm just like, I could be that guy where people are like, that's the real estate guy, which I've enjoyed embracing, but I don't want to slow up because I'm like, a lot of people, once you get in the league, you get fat and happy sometimes. And I'm not even in the league. I'm in high school still. But I feel like this is where you could lay off the gas, but you can't.
Now, does that mindset take away from you enjoying the actual process at all?
No, because I'm balancing. I'm not tied to the results anymore, which I enjoy results, but I'm not tied to them. I know if I'm doing a great job because my clients are happy. It's a non-tangible goal that I can tell if a deal goes through, if these people are ecstatic. And it doesn't always work that way. But if you try to just shoot for that and make it a great experience, it means you did everything else right? Like you got them a good number. You did this, you did that. You were very, it's a different change of mindset. And I'm not losing the goal of, selling a certain volume and all that stuff, but I'm focusing more at the end of the day at that last experience and being like, I knocked it out of the park. There's no debate that they weren't happy with what happened.
I love what you're saying, and it's definitely a switch for you.
Big switch.
Because, you went through a life-changing experience with this book even that's keeping you focused on the day-to-day service, which is different to hear from Mike Pirelli. I don't know if you're catching on to that, CV, right?
But everything else comes, right? Like,
I get it.
I still love that stuff.
But you have said in the past, which is good. This is beautiful. I
vanity
love this.
metrics. I'm getting away from vanity metrics.
Which you have said in the past. No.
Weight
I know. I get you. But the dollar was the biggest thing for you.
It's still there,
Of
but
course,
it's secondary to the experience because I feel like
I love it.
the experience, everything follows that. And if I'm knocking the experience out of the park and I'm doing everything the day to day, that comes. So it's like it's coming. I'm in a place where it's starting to roll in. But this is the important thing because that creates more of that. And at the end of the day, that's what I enjoy. Like I enjoy that process and delivering a good service.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens that real estate's my thing that I enjoy working on as well.
And of course, you're going to get more money from providing an excellent level of service.
You would hope
to
being
individuals
undeniable
in the long term. In the long term, that compound of the experience of others and your relationships
and
will benefit you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I do have a very brief story.
We have a podcast. It's called Interrupting. That's what we do.
So I have a very, very brief story. Embrace it. You talked about embracing the process, the suck you used. So I have it's very short, but it basically a scenario where I laughed it off. And I'm getting better at laughing things off and being like, all right, well, I can't fix this in the moment, but I'll fix it in the future. So we shot our second episode of Burgers and Bentleys. Okay. We go into their dealership, which is, it's not stuffy. Like it's very comfortable. Like
I wouldn't know. I've never been in a Bentley
dealership. It's
dealership.
rare times I'm in there, right? So it's a dealership, but it's a lot of high-end clients, right? It's very formal. My guy, Nick, is he's formal, but he's a little more lax like I am. But every time we go in, like clearly we're distracting people because we're shooting this video and like we're cracking up, we're having a good time. And then everyone, I mean, they're great, don't get me wrong, but they're all in their office on the phones, like doing actual work, right? So I'm always conscious going in, like, let's not piss people off because I want to be let back in here. Right. And I want them to be like, if they ever have a client, like this kid's not a clown, he's professional. That being said, we build a car, which is sick. Like we build it on this virtual thing. And he has the same one ready that he unveils so that like it acts as if like we build our Bentley and then it's there for us to ride.
Yep.
So in the next episode, that'll happen. So this kid, Nick, the best, but he had a cover for the car and he was ripping it off and he kept ripping it off. Right. And I have an assistant / like helps with social media. This girl, Ashley, she's the best. She's us at 27 though. So she's all over the place. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ash, we're in Bentley, stay professional. Like she's like, this car is fucking insane. Like the best though. So she's like starting to touch the car and stuff. And I'm like, Ash, don't break anything. Like I'm a nervous wreck because I'm like, again, I don't want them to kick us out. Right. So come to find out, I'm talking to Nick and he's like, yeah, someone basically broke one of the cars earlier today, like a piece of it. So like everyone's a little tense.
Okay.
So he says that. So I'm even more so like, guys, we can't
ruin this. Yep.
He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to the other building to put the cover back that I used to pull off. So he walks out of the building. Ash sees the opportunity. She walks over. She's like looking through the window. Mm-hmm. And I look like she looks like she's about to open the door. Alarm goes off. Dude, loudest alarm I've ever heard on a car. It sounds louder than my parents' alarm in their house.
Oh, wow.
I look in, all these dudes' faces go white, and they look so fucking pissed. I'm standing there like this. I don't react. I'm like, oh, my God. I quickly get my camera out, and I start videoing Ashley because I realized, like, I think she did it. She's, like, doing this, and she just goes like this. Dude comes out, looks like he's going to murder all of us. He's like... walks to the place, gets the extra key and turns it off. Maybe 20 seconds.
Oh, so that's
right?
a long time.
Everyone pissed. Everyone's doors closed. I'm like, listen, this thing's temperamental, huh? Like trying to make jokes, not landing at all, making him more mad. So and Nick walks back in, not knowing what happened, and we're like, dude, we just set the alarm off. Like Ashley just hit the door. She's like, I didn't touch the door, and I was like, she just touched the door probably. And Nick's like, oh shit, I hit the panic button. Ashley's like, I told you I didn't touch that. I was
hilarious.
dying. I was like, this is
hilarious.
epic. But that was the memory I put for that day. And I was like, this scenario, I was mortified.
Yep.
But it was so funny and I enjoyed it while it was happening.
Yes.
Even like you embrace that stuff. I was like cracking up because I'm like, That's going to be a story I'll always tell. And
That's
we
awesome.
may never be let back in.
They might be like, listen, you got to come in off hours.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ash. Yeah. Listen, I know Mike's a stubborn guy, so once he thought that it was you, it was over.
I was convinced it was
Yeah,
her.
of course.
Because literally, she was on the other side and her hands were there. And she was like, I didn't touch it. Which is sign one, someone touched something.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That is awesome. Oh, man. I have a... So I guess the final thing, really, before we get into my favorite section, is the process of us being, husbands and fathers. This process, right, is something that we have to focus on enjoying along the way. Our daughters are already 18 plus months, which is crazy. Families will be growing. It's just it's an incredible thing to watch, but you can so quickly get lost in all of the extracurricular things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I loved today's conversation, man.
It was good. It's something we're both dealing with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Being conscious.
So this will bring us to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes. Can we upgrade to quarters at some point?
Yeah. This is a side note. Have you guys had this Waterloo before? So shout out Trader Joe's, right? One of our...
I thought you were drinking Spike Seltzer this whole time.
No. Yeah, Waterloo is basically Trader Joe's version of a sparkling seltzer.
Are you a Trader Joe's fan?
I do a lot of business with them.
So I can't talk candidly.
Yeah, they're like one of our biggest supporters. They donate to the food pantry. They're good.
All I can say is just because it's vegan doesn't mean there's not 20 grams of sugar in it.
That's true. But they're genius because they basically took like Oreos and they made their own like Trader Joe's, for example. You know what I mean?
No, incredible
you know what I mean?
branders.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So this Dime of the Week is actually a little story. So it could be Dave's dictionary.
Nice.
I don't know. Dabo Sweeney. You know who he is?
First, is it Dabo or Dabo?
Dabo.
Okay. Is it?
Dabo.
I don't know.
It is Dabo.
Okay.
Clemson football. Right? He's been the head coach. He's got a phenomenal story. Dude was he actually was a walk-on at like Alabama, ended up coaching as an assistant at Alabama, and then ironically ended up at Clemson. Right? Became the head coach at 38 years old. Which is like wild. The president at the time, or the AD at the time, gave him like a 7-week trial to say, listen, we're firing the head coach for 7 weeks, though. You're not the interim head coach. You're the head coach. Right? So do your thing. I'll support anything you want.
Wow.
So he goes through the whole story, and then basically he has this this mindset, and it's called the windshield mindset. And one of the habits that he's created for the players, every single day when they walk into their playroom, right, which is not the locker room, but they review plays, so there's a screen there. He's got a picture of a massive windshield, right, and then a picture of a very small rear view mirror. And the concept is basically like a car, right? We drive and we are looking forward
pretty good.
Through the big windshield. If we were driving and we were focusing in the rear view mirror looking behind us, we would end up crashing, right? So he said, every single day you come in, your dreams are so much greater than your memories. Everything in life is about looking forward versus looking behind you.
You basically destroyed my whole concept this whole episode.
No, not at all.
I'm just kidding.
But
hilarious though.
It is. But he I mean the way that he breaks it down, no, because you could do the opposite to that. But yes. It was just a beautiful day. And he said it's every day. He said, because every single day, even if we have a shit day, the next thing tomorrow, right, is about walking in that room, seeing that windshield, and it's like, what's next? What's next? You're not focusing on the bad things that happened in your past.
What do the kids say? That hits? Is that what the kids say?
That hits?
That
That's
hits.
dope. That's dope.
That was good. I don't want to follow that up. You ruined my segment, which is fine. That was great. That was a great send off.
Why?
No, because mine's gonna be something stupid like 3 words. And,
Just do it.
No, success isn't a mistake. That's
walk us through it, man.
No, but that was beautiful. That was the story and everything. Let's keep with that. You know mine. We're gonna send it off here. If you've made it to the end of the show, congratulations. One of the few. We usually don't
This
get
is probably one of our shorter ones.
Shorter one.
Definitely is.
Like, subscribe, follow. YouTube. We got to get YouTube pumping. All right, that's my fault. I'll take the blame. Did anyone reach out about the clothing?
Yes,
we did.
Three individuals. Got to get back to them. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Tell them they need to style the fits and send us photos like a catwalk.
There was a lot of people that were playing around But then there was 3 serious people that were like, no, I'm actually interested. So we'll check it out, man.
So
NoSnoozeShop.com.
Kanye didn't hit us up yet?
Nah.
All right. Yeah, hit us up. Yeah, NoSnoozeShop.com. Love you all. Anyone else going to do the log or whatever?
What log? Oh, yeah, I think I might.
Memory a day, it's called.
I might go into the message in a bottle.
Just start sending bottles everywhere?
I'm not into technology like that enough that I would want to put it into an Excel.
Yeah, you're old school, huh?
Yeah, I love writing things down, so I might have to do that.
It's funny too because if you look at it, no one will have any idea what it means.
Yeah,
because it's just like words. And
no, thank you guys for joining us. Another good one in the books. We'll be back next week. So until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
That's right.
I think for the send-off, you should break an egg every time. Right to the camera. That's another Epi in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.